It's not in the cards for you. I'm pretty good at insults, and I got the internet and a lot of free time.
Liberals laughing at homeless people dying in Republican Texas with freezing temperatures colder than Alaska. Conservatives laughing at gay people dying of AIDS, liberals supporting warmongering Democrats, bombing countries, killing civilians, imposing sanctions to starve people for the profit of corporations, conservatives supporting warmongering Republicans, bombing countries, killing civilians, imposing sanctions to starve people for the profit of corporations. This is why I'm a leftist. Democrats who crank money into wars while not housing the homeless as drug abuse, crime, and suicide and rape skyrockets in a housing crisis. Republicans who crank money into wars while not housing the homeless as drug abuse, crime, suicide, and rape skyrockets in a housing crisis. Both parties suck. This is why I'm a leftist. Ask your rhetorical questions, idiot. I'll go off till you're feeling it. Dress as a clone, homeboy fuckwit, like capitalism is your religion. Plutocrat loving dipshit. Fuck around during COVID, you look-alike corporatist sick fuck. Motivated by profit. Bernie forgetting gasoline communist, oligarch hypocrite bigot. This is why I'm a leftist, you thick-skulled nitwits. Where the party at, Gen Z? Fuck you then. Back in the day of worker solidarity, the blue collar had a spine. We come into your house, boss, and break your teeth. If I can't afford mine, we'll burn down your house after robbing you blind. When workers worked overtime and the pay wasn't fine, we'll drink all your beer and make your daughter slap daddy, and she'll picnic with us at the factory and coal mine. Living paycheck to paycheck, money is numbers on a screen. Screw the profit motive. We'll work cooperatively. This is why I'm a leftist. Worker democracy and a government of the people. With the internet, it's possible. Congress of both parties only care about the bottom line and money. We'll roll cardboard guillotines on billionaires in effigy. Don't you wish it was a more pristine metal and wood reality? We're tired of your greed as you give in to guys with a narcissistic supply of honeys as you win them with bigotry. We'll take them back with solidarity. You're not a man, you're a fuckboy. Idiot. This is why I'm a leftist. You shit-stained fuckboy hypocrites. Where the party at, Gen Z? Give us our solidarity against your bigotry. His eggs, telomerase, bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftists in name only narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seeds, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism in name only narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftist in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll see a reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seeds, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seed, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seeds, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll seize the means of reproduction, Gen Z, high telomerase eggs, telomerase bigotry, Gen X seeds, stronger strands of baby DNA. Fuck you and your leftism, in name only, narcissistic supply. Hi, honey, be one with me. We'll crash the patriarchy. In communism, you have to stand in line for bread. In capitalism, men with guns guard dumpsters filled with thrown out food, which is better. The price for electricity in Texas spiked from $4 per megawatt hour to $1,800 per megawatt hour, simply because people needed it not to die. But please tell me how capitalism is noble and prevents human suffering. Boss made a dollar, I made a dime. That was a poem from a simpler time. Now boss makes 1,000 and gives us a cent. Well, he's got employees who can't pay the rent. So when boss makes 1,000,000 and the workers make jack, then that's when we riot and take our lives back. It's always reduce, reuse, and recycle, and never the US military being a bigger polluter than the 100 countries combined. Folks need to stop telling young people how to manage their money. Some people paid $310 for their first apartments when I graduated from high school in 1998. Based on inflation, it should go for $850 a month, those same apartments in 2021. But now those apartments go for $1,600 a month. You can't personal finance your way out of greedy landlords and depressed wages. If capitalism didn't already exist and somebody suggested that we all work 40 hours a week, well, they made all the money and decisions, we'd probably break every one of their teeth. The United States is rapidly succumbing to the cancers of capitalism and systemic racism. Your livelihood and mental health have been compromised by a virus. Your oppressors are profiting obscenely from. Life as you know it is permanently fractured. Are you ready for some football? Allowing people to get evicted during winter is violence. Making them stand in food lines when we have more than enough food is violence. Letting them die of a virus you have had the means to prevent is violence. I've been thinking lately that a country isn't free if most of its inhabitants are forced by threat of homelessness and death to spend the majority of their waking lives toiling at a task that means nothing to them for the benefit of a tiny class of investors who own the government. It really makes no fucking sense. How taking pictures of yourself is selling your body, but destroying your back permanently at a warehouse in service to investors and shareholders while you make minimum wage isn't. Here's a quote from Martin Luther King. Artificial scarcity is a feature of capitalism. Empty houses surround homeless people. Tons of wasted food encircle hungry people, and unused medical resources sit idle near dying people. A commodified world that takes necessities from the masses to give luxuries to the upper classes. I think everybody mad about burger flippers making the same as them should be overjoyed they can leave their super difficult job and flip burgers since it's so easy. Here's some things that women don't need to debate with men: abortion, breastfeeding, menstruation, female body hair, birth control, access to feminine hygiene products. None of those things involve the male body and therefore don't create any valid male opinions. Screw the minimum wage being set to $15 an hour. We ought to rise up and demand all corporations be reorganized as cooperatives. Why? Because this is what CEOs make an hour. J.C. Penney, $4,629 an hour. Chipotle, $13,000, $489 per hour. Dunkin' Donuts, $4,889 an hour. Domino's Pizza, $3,571 an hour. Wendy's. You really think the CEOs work harder than the people at Wendy's? Are you stupid or something? $3,465 an hour the CEO of Wendy's makes. Walmart, $2,704 an hour. Starbucks, $10,285 an hour. Macy's, $7,904 an hour. You know what, guys? Capitalism is a mental disorder. What the fuck? How did caveman make tools without a profit incentive? Senator Tim Scott. We cannot encourage people to make more money in unemployment than they do in employment. Gee, I wonder why giving people enough to live on comes out to more than minimum wage. Capitalism is when a vaccine to a deadly pandemic exists, but we can't create or distribute enough of it because two pharmaceutical conglomerates refuse to lose out on shareholder profits by sharing the patent information. The hallmark of capitalism is poverty in the midst of plenty. Liberals who deny that capitalism is the sole cause of ecological breakdown are the new climate change deniers. Peak liberalism is taking the left's idea from 2008 for $15 an hour, when minimum wage was $7.25, chewing on it for a decade, and passing a law for $15 an hour by 2025, when $15 will be the equivalent to $7.25 in 2008. then they congratulate themselves for it. That's the Democratic Party in a nutshell. You know, people think they're so smart when they blame the Jews. When most billionaires, millionaires, and strongest people are Christians. That's the Republican Party in a nutshell. So many Gen Z are anti-capitalist because they were born into a state of capitalist decay. They don't remember the good old days when an average job could pay for rent and school. Come to think of it, neither can Gen X. You don't make $15 an hour. You make hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of product an hour. You didn't make anything for yourself. You sold an hour of your life and your body for $15. Don't let them convince you otherwise. Your labor value is getting stolen. Profit is theft. I'm not about to let capitalism gaslight me into being a shitty person. You don't think everyone deserves food, shelter, and drinkable water? That's sad as fuck. Maybe you should reevaluate yourself. Hey, fun fact. If you see someone shoplifting food, water, winter coats, scarves, gloves, body stuff, hygiene products, baby formula, diapers, deodorant, toothpaste, female hygiene products. As a matter of fact, if you see somebody shoplifting, there's probably a reason for it. They can't afford it. So if you saw somebody shoplifting, no, you didn't. If a monkey hoarded more bananas than it could eat, while most of the other monkeys starved, scientists would study that monkey to figure out what the fuck was wrong with it. When humans do it, we put them on the cover of Forbes magazine. The annual human cost of capitalism. 8 million people die from lack of clean water. 7,665,000 die of hunger. 3 million die of curable diseases. And 500,000 die of malaria. In other words, communism killed 100 million people. But capitalism kills 100 million people every 5 years. Know the real enemy. Freedom of speech doesn't mean zero consequences for your words. You're free to say what you want, but you're not free to escape the consequences of your bigotry. You leftists in name only with your multiple girlfriends are greedy, therefore you're hypocrites. Go fuck yourselves, dude. How dare you to give in to their greed? How to know you've internalized capitalism? Oh, I'm only going to date Gen Z women. How to know you've internalized capitalism? You determine your worth based on your productivity, and you feel guilty for resting. Your primary concern is to make yourself profitable. You neglect your health. You think hard work is what brings happiness. Bullshit. Money isn't real. Debt isn't real. Put people in homes. Give people health care. Give food to the hungry. Give people the resources they need to live. What kind of species are we? People are dying for no goddamn reason. The Absolute funniest part of capitalist ideology is that they managed to convince everyone that freedom meant like the freedom to choose between 63 kinds of shampoo and not the freedom to quit your job without losing your health insurance. If you're mad at people making more than you on unemployment, you should probably be mad at people like your employer for underpaying you. Liberals hate leftists for the same reason you'd hate someone at a theater who kept yelling, "Those are all actors. None of this is real." Liberals are trying to enjoy a fictional performance about their side being heroic protagonists, and leftists keep disrupting the illusion. Never forget that in this pandemic of COVID 19, the rich and the powerful ran away to second homes and island vacations, made record profits, got the best treatment when infected, skipped the line for the vaccine, and yet they still refused $2,000 direct payments for the working class in the United States, the richest country in the world. When every other first world nation, Canada, Mexico, most of Europe, Japan, etc., received $1,000 a month or more for over a year. The irony of accusing socialists of wanting free stuff is that capitalism lives on free stuff: labor, nature, the work of social reproduction. Capital exists because something is underpaid. If capital ever paid a worker the whole value of their work, it would cease to exist. When landlords are nice people, it's important to remember that landlords will put their income above your well being. If you're gay, your civil rights come from violent civil unrest. If you're employed, your workers' rights came from violent civil unrest. If you're an American, your country came from violent civil unrest. Don't complain about violent civil unrest unless you're ready to give up the rights violent civil unrest has earned you. The ruling class literally laughs at peaceful protests. If one man has a dollar he didn't work for, some other man worked for a dollar he didn't get. Amazon CEO exploits his workers under harsh working conditions so they can toil at backbreaking work so Jeff Bezos can sit back at his desk on the phone and make $9 million an hour. Here's a quote from Frederick Douglass: "Where justice is denied, where poverty is enforced, where ignorance prevails, and where anyone class is made to feel that society is an organized conspiracy to oppress, rob, and degrade them, neither persons nor property is safe." If Christmas worked like US capitalism, one kid gets all the toys, he gives a few kids stuffed animals, and is hailed as a generous philanthropist. He bribes elves to write laws, ensuring he always gets all the toys. Other kids ask where their toys are and are called lazy and ungrateful. If your jokes align with violence against marginalized folks, then they're not jokes. They're propaganda. We don't live in a hypersensitive world. People are finally being held accountable for their actions. Tell your friends to tell a friend. People be like, "I love capitalism." Like, okay, where's your factory? Where's your capital? You don't even own your own car. Capitalism is anti earth. It's an economic system premised on infinite consumption, but we don't have infinite resources. It actually doesn't matter if you like capitalism as a concept. In practice, it cannot coexist with a healthy planetary ecosystem. The biggest lie in human history is that capitalism is good. Take a look around you. It was 100 degrees in the Arctic last year, while parts of Texas right now are colder than Alaska. 26 billionaires hoard half the world's wealth. Entire species of animals are being wiped out. Capitalism is fucking evil. It is killing us and our planet too. $600 is what rich people think poor people think is a lot of money. We all see you out there during COVID, you Christians with your multiple tattoos, picking up any kind of woman that would possibly go with you. Sometimes you're walking around with more than one of them at a time. But every word out of your mouth is something misogynistic, homophobic, or otherwise bigoted. And you're coming around with some of the most gorgeous women that, if you weren't there, would become enlightened by my words. You're a bunch of clones. You sometimes cart around more than one woman, or you go three guys to a chick. I don't know why any woman would ever fuck you. You're the rudest fucking people I've ever met. If I ask you any information, even when it's not COVID, you don't help me because you need your 2 clits on Friday, and then you need your 2 on the next Friday. These women that you fuck around with must have never heard anything intelligent in their lives. And because you're religious, you feel righteously entitled to everything, when you do nothing but disrespect these young women. And if it's not that and somebody disagrees with you, you call them some homophobic slur. You think you're black and you're entitled to use the N-word every 2 seconds. It's not dude, it's the N-word. Sometimes you're with somebody that's black and you're one of the guys just like them, but you don't use the N-word. The point is that you tattooed motherfuckers are out there during COVID swooping dumb women that have never heard anything about their emancipation. Usually because you have drugs, or you know somebody with drugs. I don't know why 6 women would go with some idiot, but apparently they do. You think that I'm not called dude. You're out there during COVID doing this. I've seen you hit on young women with their moms right there, and then you act like it's a big deal when they don't go with your group of people. When you already have like these 6 women, you need a 7th and 8th. If anybody tries to hit on any women around you, you disparage them. You try to disparage people that try, even when it's not COVID. You get in their way, your little cock blocks, which makes you guys bitches. And you're the biggest assholes I've ever met. Maybe you didn't hear me, dude, bro. Every word out of your mouth is bigoted, which I don't like. You're doing illegal shit to get beautiful women to have sex with you. Multiple times, multiple women. You're going to places like the Motel 6 Spokane, and there's all these little motels around. And I see you tattooed motherfuckers doing this and have a cell phone and don't like you and want one, not 2, you greedy motherfuckers. I want one to inspire and enlighten, and to inspire and enlighten me with her life. Because I want to get married and have kids one day. Not just fuck around like you idiots. This is recorded on a cell phone, which has a phone number in it called the police. Young African American women really seem to like me. I guess that would make sense because a lot of my time is spent talking about and reposting memes that I like on Instagram that have to do with Black Lives Matter. And also a lot of memes where it's like, I'll follow those pages where it's like the empowerment of women. It's not necessarily like the feminist pages, but it is feminist in nature because it's like the stuff where it's like you call women crazy, but your ass was the toxic one that made her crazy. So, I mean, you throw those 2 things together, it would only be natural that black women would be attracted to me. It's probably one of the coolest things I've ever experienced. I also went on a date with Kiki, who is African American, but she has a boyfriend. So, like, a lot of like the community around here talk about how I went out with Kiki a day. I'm not kidding you. People know about this stuff. And pretty much everybody I hang out with at the homeless shelter is African American. Like a lot of these guys that do hang out with black guys, they're dropping the N word all the time. A black guy says anything, and I'm kind of like, they're like, yep, you're right. They really need to hear it. Stuff where they're talking about like the housing situation and stuff like that. I'm supportive of my friends. You know, I like people that are political left wing people. So naturally, the African American community does like me. I'm kind of the nerd in the group too. I could be a hard ass too, don't get me wrong, but I'm kind of the nerd in the group. But I'm kind of the Bernie Sanders of the group because when anybody says anything political about any of that shit, I shut my mouth and tell them that people do need to hear what they have to say. I'm an encouraging human being to people that are marginalized. It's weird to me how different Caucasian women and African American women are. You see a lot of like black guys these days dating white chicks because black women don't tolerate disrespect, nor should they. I think more women in general should be women that don't tolerate disrespect. White girls will tolerate disrespect for a big dick. That's just the fuck about it. White girls will tolerate disrespect for a big dick. But then there was Isaac. He was at the homeless shelter calling this African American friend that he had, who's 18 as well, a slut. And there's this other clone dude calling her a slut. And I was there like, that's misogynistic. Still, this woman went with Isaac because they were friends. But I presume he fucks her because he fucks every woman he hangs out with, and he hangs out with women all the time. That's why I hate Isaac, because whenever I hang out with him, he wants me to hook him up with something. But now that I know he's doing illegal shit, like smoking crack, if I see him again, I mean, the other day I told him if he didn't wise up, I was going to call Border Patrol. Just kidding around, you know what I mean? Because he was clearly doing some illegal drugs. And I jokingly said, if he doesn't wise up, I'm going to call Border Patrol, and he's going to be eating cockroaches off the street in Tijuana if he doesn't get his act together. But he has all those hot women that he fucks. But he doesn't hook me up with any. And yet he wants me to like hook him up with food and marijuana whenever I hang out with him. He's asked me to buy him alcohol. His 19-year-old ass asked me to buy him alcohol so he could fuck this skater chick 2 days before my birthday. And I said, am I fucking her? And he said, you know, if you don't do it, I'm just going to get somebody else. He only hangs out with you if you hook him up with shit. But he never hooks anybody up with shit. But now that I know he's doing illegal shit, kind of like those dudes with the tattoos that are disrespectful towards women. Why would they have so many fucking girlfriends? Those dudes that are just covered in tattoos, the Christians that are covered in tattoos. Why would they have so many fucking women if they're so disrespectful towards women? Usually it's not about the size of their dick, even though they say it is. It's the fact that they're probably selling drugs. And the drugs that are popular in Spokane are the drugs that are popular everywhere. Meth, heroin, crack, and LSD. Those are the things that I've come into contact with and just refuse. I did shrooms once because it was free. And I smoke weed all the time, or I did when I wasn't on the LRA. But, you know, I'm a guy that smokes a lot of weed. And I'm always hooking people up with weed because it's cheap. It's like $100 an ounce for weed. So I buy an ounce every once in a while and I'll hook people up. But people never got my back except Sharif. Sharif's a good dude. He's African American and he plays guitar and he's 42. He's the only guy that's got my back, really. When Isaac was being unruly towards Dorothy and Dorothy was telling him to fuck off, Isaac was still getting getting in her face while I was talking to her about her tattoos. She's a tattoo artist. But Sharif tackled the dude to the ground because of his disrespect. But now that I know about the illegal activities that get the women, well, fuck you guys, Spokane. If I see you with multiple women, I'm just going to presume that you did something illegal, like sell drugs in order to get them. Because no self respecting woman would go with an asshole misogynist unless he was selling drugs. Why would you go two women to a guy that is disrespectful towards women and every other word out of his mouth is something homophobic about anything he doesn't like? You're gay, but the homophobic slur that starts with the letter F. He'll call you that. Somebody will call you a letter F homophobic slur if they disagree with whatever you're saying. But still, they get these gorgeous women. In a liberal state, among a liberal generation, millennials and Gen X and um, Gen Z, obviously liberals or leftists, a lot of like anarchists, a lot of socialists and communists. Why would they go with disrespectful guys? Well, if they're covered in tattoos and the women are gorgeous, or they're like Isaac and they have like long hair or whatever, the women are gorgeous, but the guys are disrespectful towards women. And for some reason, they hate the LGBTQ community, though they tout that they're left wing. The hypocrites. What would get them? What would get educated? The most educated generation is Gen Z, or on par to become the most educated generation is Gen Z, but the millennials. Why would these women go with these assholes? The only logical solution, the only logical answer is drugs. Hard drugs. So what I'm saying here is 50 guys can say a woman is a hoe and they'll believe her, but one woman says she's raped and you don't believe her. That's fucked up. I hate misogyny.
You're scaring the hell out of me, man. Everything that I do good, I try to do good.